So everybody wants to know, what are we going to be doing with all this black walnut and the other logs we've been harvesting and piling up in our yard? We got the sawmill over here that our good buddy Dutch has let us use for about a year now, and it is super windy today, so bear with me. But let me show you some of the stuff that Rachel and I have already been working on with some of this lumber that we've been milling out of some of these logs. So we've been experimenting a little bit, making some crafting type stuff. This is what they call a charcuterie board, and this is out of black walnut that we harvested from her grandfather's property earlier this year. And this is from the same wood as you see right here. That's a black walnut log, and this is what the finished product turned out to be. So people call these charcuterie boards. They kind of serve food and stuff like that on there. You can do all kinds of stuff, make cutting boards. This one is not all the way finished yet. I still need to put some more coats of mineral oil on here, some food grade mineral oil. But I kind of just want to show you guys some of the stuff that we're doing and some of the other things. Here is a cutting board we made out of maple and black walnut. So this one is a little bit thicker. This would make a nice cutting board. I've got it sanded down. I still got to put the mineral oil on there and kind of get it sealed. But this is an unfinished product, but man, it already looks awesome. That wood is beautiful. And I got one more I want to show you real quick. So if you guys have been following our channel for a while, you know I made our dining room table, and that was several years ago. I went up to a local sawmill and I purchased a bunch of oak lumber, and I milled it, or I didn't mill it down, but I cut it down and made a farmhouse table out of it, and it's still in our house now. And I had some leftover lumber from that. So what I did is I took it and I took some of the black walnut lumber that we milled out of the log from Rachel's grandfather's house, and I put it together to make this cutting board. This one's one of my favorite ones that come out. You can see all the different colors of all the oak and the walnut. That walnut has almost like a purple, whitish. But anyways, that is some of the stuff that we've been doing. So basically in today's video, I'm gonna be putting some logs, or a log. I don't know how much I'm gonna do today. It's really windy. I'm gonna try to mill up some lumber today, but I wanted to show you guys some of the stuff that we've already been working on. But my goal today is I'm probably gonna take some of these shorter logs and cut them in like 1-inch slabs. And from there, either we'll make charcuterie boards like the one I showed you first. You know, you can use a bandsaw, a jigsaw, kind of get your outline, and then you cut it, do all that. But I think what today I'm gonna do is make some 1-inch slabs, and then what you can do, if you want to make a cutting board like this with the different types of lumber, you can take it and cut it into all different sizes of strips, you know, however wide you want, and then you can layer it like this, glue them all together, and you got a nice looking cutting board that uses different species of trees. So I'm gonna get the sawmill fired up. I gotta get some window washer fluid to put in to the water reservoir, and that just kind of keeps the blade lubricated and kind of cooled down. We can't use water now because now we're into the freezing temperatures, and that would actually freeze and bust the reservoir and all that. I think it's fueled up. I got the tractor, the Kubota, fueled up with the grapple on it, so I'll probably start off with one of these smaller ones. I don't know yet. We'll put it on there and get to work. Okay, there you go. We got that little small log milled up, and this sawmill isn't really designed to do these little short logs. So you can see it has these little braces. I think they're 4 foot apart. I can't remember for sure, but what that is for is to actually lay the log all the way across. And this sawmill is capable of cutting up to like 11 foot 8-inch logs, something like that, almost 12 foot. So a lot of craft people, they love using this little short logs and stuff like that, you know, the slabs off the short logs, because it's just a lot less work. So these are all scraps. You know, this is part of a log where they cut that whole tree down, but this is like the stump part or whatever. Well, instead of wasting it, we're gonna go ahead and mill it up. So that's what we did. Now it is kind of dangerous. I had to make a makeshift platform right here. So as I said, the logs are made to sit on top of these brackets right here, you know, long ways. Well, this log actually fit right inside, so it would have only rested on one of these little brackets, so it wouldn't have been able to hold it up. It would have been doing this. So I put a bunch of 2x6s together and made kind of a bottom platform for it to rest on. Now the only problem was whenever I needed to walk this side down, when this started getting narrower and narrower, this board got in the way and I couldn't put this stop all the way up against that log. So it kind of teeters a little bit and stuff like that. You got to go really slow, because sometimes what will happen is the blade will grab this log and it'll just shoot it because you don't have anything holding it back on this side. So I went ahead and stopped. I don't want to try to go no more because this is really light now. There's not really much holding it down, and I don't want to tear anything up or get injured. But I don't know how well you guys can see this. I'm gonna take one of these slabs over to the water hose and wash it off and show you guys the colors. And this right here will not be wasted. I can finish cutting this up into some dimensional size lumber for crafting and stuff on the table saw or the bandsaw. I got all kinds of ideas for it, so it won't be wasted. We'll store it and let it dry. The next thing that we're gonna do for this, I don't think I'm gonna include this on camera because it's very time consuming, is you can see as I went through and I was cutting each slab that I started ripping the bark off. The reason for that is it's still wet right here. So from my past experiences working with this black walnut is whenever you slab this up and let it dry, go ahead and rip your bark off for your live edge, because if it dries with that bark on there, it's almost impossible to get off. You got to take like a good sander or a grinder with a flapper wheel or something like that and try to get it off. And you want this looking as natural as possible. So let's grab a piece of this. I'll grab this last one we just did. It's got a lot of pretty color in there. We'll take it over to the water, wash it off, see what it looks like. Alright guys, don't know how well you can see this, but it almost has some tiger stripes on it. It's got the purple, dark brown, white, yellow. This is a beautiful piece of black walnut, no doubt. It's even got the one knot hole in it there, which makes it really unique. But you guys can see this. And all I did is I just sprayed it off with some water, get all that sawdust off to expose its beautiful colors. So I don't know, what do you guys think? Leave some comments down below. What are some ideas that I could make with these? Over the last year or so, we've been building up some of our woodworking tools and stuff. We have not been showing hardly any of this stuff on our channel. Lord willing, as we got time, that's when we try to work on this stuff. You know, a lot of times it's late in the evening, and with kids and everything else going on, it is not something that we can just focus our full time on. Having a full-time goat farm and everything else, you know, this is a kind of a hobby, but I would like to get more into it. But I need some ideas from you guys. What do you guys think we can make out of stuff like this? This is a little bit bigger than my ideal for making charcuterie boards and stuff. Now, you could cut it down and you could make all that type of stuff, or I could put it on the table saw and rip it in strips and glue them all together and make the cutting boards and stuff like that. I'll take you guys in the shop here in a second and show you guys some of the stuff that I've been working on. Alright guys, I want to show you some of the stuff that I have made with some of the other scrap pieces of lumber. So a lot of this is black walnut that I have cut into strips, pretty much inch by inch square. And then we got some of the maple, we got some of the oak in here. So we got all different kinds of colors. This is some of the oak we had left over from when I made the dining room table. I know it's kind of hard to see in here with the shadows and everything, but pretty much what I did is I took my table saw and set it up and just started making strips to make projects and stuff like that. And here is another one that Rachel and I had did. This one actually turned out a little different, as you can see here. It's got the handle. This one's not even done either. We still got to cut a hole right here in the handle, and it had this weird little notch in it. And instead of cutting it real short right there where that notch is, I said, hey, let's just make it the shape it is naturally. And it looks like a crawdad pincher or like a whale's mouth, something like that. But this is just some of the stuff that we have started tinkering with all this wood. Okay, so like I said, this one here is pretty much done. I finished sanding it. I filled in some of the holes with epoxy, stuff like that. This is the maple and walnut. And now, the last step I did was I went ahead and took a little bit of water and sprayed down, and then I sanded it real good. And now it's time to go ahead and seal it with some food grade mineral oil. This is cutting board oil. So I've been waiting to do that. I wanted to do it on camera so you guys can see what it looks like as well. Wow, it's amazing how much difference that oil makes on this wood. I don't know if the camera's doing justice for it or not, but and we'll do this a few times. We'll get several coats. It'll absorb it and it'll actually protect the cutting board for the whole life. Look at this. I know that light's reflecting on it, but man, it really brings out the color and makes it pop. I'll do the other side here in just a minute. Let me set this aside. Let's do the oak and black walnut. Here's the before. So this one had a lot of little bitty pinholes in it from where the worms get in there. And that was one of the reasons we chose that oak to make our dining room table. It was just very unique. So I went ahead and tried to fill in all those little holes with epoxy. Like I said, this will absorb this over time, so we'll just keep putting some coats on it, let it rest a day or two, and come back out, put another coat on it. But there is your... This should be what it looks like when it's about done. We'll go ahead and do the back and do all the sides. Might have to get some more of this cutting board oil. There you go. This stuff does get really slippery. The oak one more time. So that's the whole process of how we've been doing projects and crafts with these logs and all this lumber that we've been milling up. And like I said earlier, the next phase that you will do after cutting these slabs, they're still kind of heavy because they're still a little wet. Even though these trees were cut down in April of this year, I think it takes like 12 to 18 months for this black walnut to actually dry out all the way. So what we'll do is we'll haul it to the shop. I'm about to run out of places to store stuff. Everything that has tarps on it over here has some type of lumber stored under it. And what we're doing is keeping it dry. And like I said, the next process on this is we'll take it to the shop. We'll get these wood stickers, and all that is just little strips of lumber that's about evenly spaced apart, and we'll stack them up and just let the air dry them out over time, and that keeps it from splitting and stuff once you work with it. If you were to make stuff with that right now, it'd probably set for a few weeks or a month or even a year, and it could just start splitting and cracking once it starts drying. So as you can see, we still have a whole lot of logs. This tree right here is a walnut log that I have been wanting to do. I've been putting it off because this walnut is very hard. It's very tough on the sawmill and the blade, but this black walnut is a hardwood too, and it seems like it's been cutting it pretty good. No big problems. You can see we got several logs to do, and then of course we got this honey locust. I am really eager to see what this turns out to look like. A lot of people have been asking how they can buy cutting boards and stuff. We're not quite there yet. Hopefully one day we hope to be able to make some to share with you guys, and anyone that wants to purchase any, one day we'll hopefully have them on our Shopify website to where you guys can purchase them if you're interested. We still got a lot of learning to do and work out all the kinks and stuff. But anyways, I'm gonna wrap up this video and get this wood put up. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a comment down below, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and we'll see you next time.